Ask people to give a description of Chandler Limited, and you will get everything from punch to crunch, smooth to huge, beautiful, vintage, modern, and everything in between. This is because when Chandler Limited puts their ideas into a product, it always comes with a premium sound quality that is paired with musicality. And now that sound quality is paired with Console 1 to give you musical control over the gorgeous parameters that are meticulously fine-tuned. Let's start with some percussion. One of the greatest parts of this channel strip is the drive section that is modeled from the THD, or Total Harmonic Distortion, of the Zener limiter. Let's turn up our drive, get a little bit of crunch, and then use the character to brighten it up a bit. With the Zener Bender channel strip, you can use the drive section of the limiter and the compressor at the same time. Compressor 1 is a 2:1 ratio with a slower time constraint. Our limit mode is an aggressive ratio that acts much faster. And Comp 2 is a setting that puts you halfway between the two settings, essentially giving you the compression curve of Comp 1 with the faster release times of the limit mode. We'll keep our nice slow attack time, but let's shorten up that release, and then adjust our threshold. Now we've lost some of our transients with the drive and with the compressor, but the shape section is loaded with the gate and transient designer from the SL4000E. Let's add some punch back in on our percussion. Great, now the Curve Bender EQ gives us the best of both worlds. It's vintage warmth plus modern features. Let's start with a low cut to cut out the mud, and then a high cut to tame the harsh highs. That's better. Now let's do a little sculpting of the mids. All right, there's a little whistle and just nasally sound there. I'm going to cut that out. But then let's find something to balance that out on the other side. Listen to our percussion as I bypass and re-engage the Zener Bender channel strip. Let's add our bass into the mix for some bottom end. Once again, we're going to start by adding some drive to add some vibe to our sound, and the bass rings out a ton, so let's use the gate to keep it under control. And let's even cut our sustain a little bit. Okay, now let's add some compression. Once again, we'll use that compressor 2 mode. Let's set a middle of the road attack. And a nice fast release. Now let's get our frequencies under control. We'll start by cutting the rumble around 20 Hz. But then let's boost our fundamental. Okay, now the bass is cutting through. That's really not a pleasant sound, so let's cut there. But boost on the other side to get some finger attack back in. Using our high cut, let's just cut the top end so we don't have too many harmonics ringing out. Now we have this vocal bus. This is a perfect spot to use Comp 1. This is a slower and more gentle compressor. Listen to how this helps to smooth everything out. Now our guitar is kind of one of the main features of this track. Darker seems to give it the character it needs. Now our compression seems to get everything under control, but it seems to be a little too aggressive. An advantage of the Zener Bender for Console 1 is that you could parallel mix directly on the channel strip. Let's start to bring some of our dry signal back in. That's much better. Let's do a little EQing. Clean up the low end. And let's even clean up that high end. There's nothing flattering there. And then using our switch on Console 1, we could switch between a cut a shelf, or a bell. And for these guitars, let's use a shelf instead of a bell. Let's get to the bread and butter of this track. That's the drums that really drives everything. Let's start by using our drive and character to brighten it up. Already we have a huge improvement. We're going to use the limit mode, but first let's set a sidechain filter around 160 Hz so that the heavy kick drum isn't overworking the limiter. Okay, we set our filter. Now just hit filters to compressor. So we got this great pumping quality, and let's use that parallel mix just to mix some dry signal back in. Now since we used our low cut to send to the sidechain filter, we still need to get rid of some of that rumble, and we're going to do it with the EQ by selecting cut. There's nothing good there. But that seems to open up the top end. Of course, there's nothing stopping us from putting the Zener bender on our master bus. So let's just drive it a little and clean up a little EQ, and then we'll bypass and re-engage the entire session. The interactivity of the parameters on any Chandler Limited product are musical and intentional. Console 1 captures the feel of this musicality with the combination of the curve bender paired with the Zener limiter. This is the Zener bender for Console 1.